Rain pelted the cracked windshield of Amira Jones' aging Toyota Corolla as she sat outside the massive glass building that housed one of the city's leading marketing firms. Her hands gripped the steering wheel tightly while her son, 6-year-old Jordan, snoozed in the back seat, unaware of the storm brewing inside his mother. Amira was late. Again. Childcare had fallen through that morning. The sitter called in sick, and she had no family nearby. Desperate to keep her job, Amira had packed Jordan's backpack with snacks, books, and coloring supplies and brought him along, praying no one would notice. Inside the office, Amira moved quietly through the maze of cubicles, greeting coworkers with a polite smile. She led Jordan to a corner desk in the break room and told him to stay put and be quiet. He nodded solemnly. For the first few hours, things went smoothly. Amira cranked through her work, headphones on, fingers flying across her keyboard. But at noon, Jordan grew restless. He wandered out of the break room looking for his mother, and ran straight into Ms. Carlyle, the firm's IC vice president. "What is this child doing here?" Carlyle snapped. Amira rushed over, flustered. I'm so sorry. My sitter cancelled and—" "This is a place of business, not a daycare," Carlyle interrupted coldly. "Pack your things. HR will be in touch." And just like that, Amira was fired. No warning, no second chance. As she packed her belongings with trembling hands, her coworkers watched silently. No one spoke up. That night, Amira cried quietly as Jordan slept beside her. It wasn't just about the job, it was the dignity, the stability she'd lost. She'd worked so hard to prove herself. But now, she was just another single black mother dismissed and discarded. For the next 2 weeks, Amira sent out resumes from the public library while Jordan played with donated Legos in the children's section. The rejections piled up, some polite, others cold. Then, one email changed everything. Position available. Executive Assistant to CEO, Ellis & Gray Advertising. Interview Thursday at 10 a.m. She'd never heard of Ellis & Gray, but she had nothing to lose. She borrowed a blazer from a neighbor, dropped Jordan at a friend's house, and made her way downtown. The office was warm and modern, a sharp contrast to her last job's sterile walls. She was ushered into a spacious office where a tall black man in his late 30s rose to greet her. "I'm Devin Gray, CEO," he said with a genuine smile. "Thanks for coming." As they spoke, Amira found herself at ease for the first time in weeks. Devin was down-to-earth and attentive. But when he asked, "Why did you leave your last position?" her throat tightened. She told him the truth, about the sitter, the break room, and the VP who didn't care. Devin sat back, nodding slowly. "I was that kid once," he said. "My mom brought me to her cleaning jobs. I sat in the corner with crayons while she scrubbed offices. I remember the looks people gave her." Tears sprang to Amira's eyes. Not pity, understanding. Devin offered her the job on the spot. "We'll make it work. And if Jordan ever needs a place to sit for a day, we've got a corner office and plenty of snacks." Amira's hands shook as she signed the contract. It wasn't just employment. It was dignity restored. Little did she know, this opportunity would become the start of something bigger than she ever imagined. Amira Jones arrived at Ellis & Gray's sun-drenched offices early on her first day, nerves fluttering in her stomach. She hadn't had a stable job in over a month, and this one came with responsibilities that stretched her experience. But Devin Gray's faith in her, and the way he'd looked her in the eye when he said, "I was that kid," still echoed in her heart. She was escorted by a cheerful receptionist to the executive floor. Devin was already in his office, coffee in hand, sleeves rolled up. "Welcome aboard," he said warmly. "You ready to change the world?" Amira chuckled nervously. I'm ready to get to work. Her duties spanned calendars, logistics, and high-level communication. The first few days were a whirlwind, but Devon's open-door leadership style helped. He didn't micromanage, and he treated Amira not as a subordinate, but a partner. She was surprised at how quickly she began to find her footing. At home, things were improving too. With her first paycheck, she caught up on rent and bought Jordan a pair of new sneakers. The fear of losing everything no longer haunted her daily. One afternoon, Devon asked Amira to sit in on a strategy meeting with senior staff. When she hesitated, unsure she belonged there, he smiled. "You know more than half the folks in that room. Trust yourself." The meeting turned tense when a senior executive, Richard, dismissed a marketing idea geared toward lower-income families. "Not our demographic," he said, brushing it off. "We're targeting upwardly mobile professionals." Amira spoke up, voice steady but clear. "Actually, that's a blind spot. A lot of working-class families, especially black and brown communities, are spending on aspirational products. You just don't see them in boardrooms yet." The room went quiet. Devon nodded approvingly. "Exactly the kind of perspective we need." Richard said nothing, but Amira felt the shift. Her voice mattered. After the meeting, Devon pulled her aside. "You ever thought about going beyond admin work? Strategy? Leadership?" Amira blinked. "I never had the chance. You've got it, and I want to help you grow it." Devon began mentoring her personally. Weekly meetings turned into late-night brainstorms over coffee. He pushed her to speak in meetings, pitch ideas, and eventually lead small initiatives. One day, as she organized files in Devon's office, Amira noticed a framed photo on his shelf, a tired-looking woman in scrubs holding a young Devon. "That's my mother," he said when he caught her looking. "Worked nights, cleaned during the day. Brought me with her when she had to. She used to say, 'One day they'll have to listen to you.'" Amira smiled. She was right. Devon's eyes softened. "You remind me of her. Strong, smart, underestimated. But not for long." Just as Amira began to feel truly rooted, a complication arose. A high-stakes pitch to a massive client, Apex Media, was coming up. Devon wanted Amira to co-present. It was bold. She had never spoken in front of clients. The night before the pitch, Jordan developed a fever. Amira panicked. The sitter was unavailable, and Jordan clung to her, flushed and coughing. She called Devon in tears. "I can't come. I'm so sorry." He was quiet for a moment, then said gently, "Bring him." "What?" "Bring Jordan. We'll figure it out. Family comes first." The next morning, Amira arrived in a tailored blazer, Jordan bundled in his coat beside her. Devon's assistant had already set up a makeshift resting area with snacks and a tablet in an empty conference room. Amira nailed the pitch. Her insights, her authenticity, her understanding of the working-class market, it all resonated. Apex signed a multi-million-dollar contract. Later that day, as Devon clapped her on the back in celebration, he said, "You just brought in the biggest client of the year. And you did it as a mother. Don't ever apologize for that." Word spread quickly. Amira's rise wasn't just professional, it was inspirational. Employees began sharing stories, and Devon initiated a family-inclusive policy that included emergency childcare support, inspired by Amira and Jordan. Amira still had challenges, but now she had purpose, a voice, and a boss who didn't just tolerate her motherhood, but honored it. 6 months later, Amira Jones stood at the front of a conference hall, facing a room full of young professionals, mostly women of color. She adjusted the mic, glanced at the rows of eager eyes, and smiled. "I lost my job because I brought my son to work," she began, voice clear and steady. "I thought that was the end. But it was just the beginning." Thunderous applause followed. Ellis and Gray had sponsored the event, Women Rising, Stories from the Front Lines of Resilience. And Amira was the keynote speaker. She never imagined her life could change so drastically. But after the apex pitch, her visibility at the company soared. Devin Gray promoted her to Strategic Partnerships Manager, a title that still felt surreal when she typed it. But it wasn't just about titles. Devin pushed her to dream even bigger. "I want you to design something," he told her one day, sketching a rough outline on his whiteboard. "A mentorship program. For people like you. Like me. Who just needed a shot." Amira called it Project Ascent. With Devin's backing and her personal experience driving its mission, the program offered mentorship, job training, and flexible work support for single parents, particularly women of color. It started small, just 5 participants from a local community center. But within months, the program drew attention from larger organizations, nonprofits, and even city officials. One day, as Amira picked Jordan up from school, he ran into her arms grinning. "Mommy, my teacher told the class what you do. She said you help people." Amira's eyes filled with tears. That's what it was all about. Still, not everyone applauded her success. Richard, the executive who once dismissed her ideas, grew resentful of her rising profile. In a board meeting, he scoffed at her proposal to expand Project Ascent statewide. "This isn't charity work. We're a business." Amira didn't flinch. "Exactly. And businesses thrive when they invest in real people. That's what we're doing." Devin backed her up. "We've retained more talent, increased morale, and attracted new clients because of this initiative. It's not just good, it's smart." When Richard later resigned, citing a difference in vision, Amira felt no satisfaction, only clarity. The world was changing. Slowly, but surely. Soon, media outlets caught wind of her story. The local paper ran a piece titled, "From Fire to Founder, the Woman Who Turned a Setback into a Movement." Then came the call from a national morning show. On air, seated next to Devin, Amira told her story again, this time to millions. When the host asked, "What's next for you?" she smiled. "More. More programs, more support, more chances for women like me to be seen, not as burdens, but as leaders." Back at Ellis and Gray, Devin pulled her aside after the interview. "How would you feel about joining the executive team?" Amira blinked. "Are you serious? You've already earned the seat. Let's make it official." That night, she told Jordan while they ate takeout on the couch. "You're a boss now?" he asked, wide-eyed. She grinned. "Yeah, baby. I guess I am." He hugged her tightly. "I always knew you were." Months later, Amira stood outside a new community center bearing the name the Ascent Initiative. Parents arrived with toddlers on hips, teens excited for internships, single moms clutching job applications. As she watched them file in, Devin joined her. "This was your vision," he said. "All I did was believe in it." "You did more than that," Amira replied. "You changed the story, for me, for Jordan, for all of them." "No," Devin said, smiling. "You changed it. I just remembered where I came from." Amira looked around. The laughter, the hope, the movement. She remembered that rainy morning outside her old job, Jordan asleep in the back seat. She remembered the cold silence of that office, and the warmth of the one she walked into after. She remembered it all, and knew she'd never go back. Because now, she wasn't just surviving. She was leading.